meatballs, and these are our ingredients: flour, breadcrumbs, parsley, olive oil, ground chicken, egg, onion powder, heavy whipping cream, Dijon mustard, and some chicken broth. We're going to make our meatballs. You see, I have surgical gloves on, but if you don't have those, you can just please wash your hands very thoroughly before touching raw meat. But I have surgical gloves, but I also washed my hands earlier. So we're just gonna mix everything up. So we have our breadcrumbs in here. And for the breadcrumbs, we actually didn't have actual breadcrumbs, so we just took some croutons that we had and just crushed them up in a bag. So that's a very great substitute. We have some parsley that we chopped, some fresh parsley. We have 1 cage-free egg. And then we have some onion powder. So now I'm just gonna mix this up. Okay, so we made these meatballs off screen, but I'm gonna make one for you on screen so you can see like my method and how big they should be. So I took off my surgical mask for this one because they were kind of difficult to roll around and make them into the balls. So I took them off, but I washed my hands before and right after I made these ones. So we're just gonna make one, and I just took a spoon and filled it up about halfway like this. Put it on this hand, like that, and then started to try to form it into a ball, because because ground chicken is actually really wet, so it's kind of hard to make into balls. But yeah, sort of like a meatball. So we have some olive oil in this pan, so we're gonna do that. So this is what they look like now. They're kind of browning here at the bottom, and we're just gonna cook them a little bit more for maybe, I would say 5 minutes on each side in total. And then we're going to make our white sauce. This is what our meatballs look like now. And now we're gonna get started on our sauce. So first we're gonna put in some of this butter. This is I think around 1 tablespoon or so. So we're just gonna let that melt as I go around. And then we're gonna add this flour to make a roux, which is basically just flour and butter mixed together, and then we are going to add chicken broth and heavy whipping cream. Then we will add the Dijon. Okay, so the butter is all melted, and now we're going to add our 3 tablespoons of flour. So add that around, and you just mix it all up until the flour has cooked down, and you can see it's kind of coming in clumps. But that's okay, because then you're going to add the chicken broth and heavy whipping cream, and that will make it less lumpy. And we use the same pan we cooked the meatballs in just to get some of that flavor into it. So yeah, 2 cups of our chicken broth, and now we're going to put 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And we're going to stir that around. And we're going to add the Dijon mustard later. We're just going to let this simmer for a little bit, and we're going to turn up the temperature to medium and let this simmer a little bit until it thickens just a little bit more, and then we'll add our Dijon mustard. This is what it looks like. It's thickened a little bit. Very good. So now we're just going to add some Dijon mustard for flavor, also just to make it thick a little. So not too much. Just enough to thicken it out. And I can already feel it starting to get a little thicker, and I think you can probably see that. So now our roux has thickened very well. So now we're just gonna add the meatballs and cook them. So we're just gonna like sort of coat them in the sauce, flip them over. This is what it looks like. This is the final product. We add just a little bit of arugula just for garnish, and we have the sauce smeared, you know, just for presentation. So, bon appetit!